Okay, imagine this. What if you could literally uh, just switch off your work life?
Like completely off.
Yeah, not just, leaving work behind mentally. I
Yeah.
mean, flipping a switch so the actual consciousness of your workday, poof, it's gone the second you walk out the door.
A total blank slate until you clock back in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a pretty wild thought, right? And it's the core idea behind this amazing show, Severance.
Right. And that's what we're diving into today. We're going to unpack this whole concept in Severance.
Yeah, explore what it's saying about, work-life balance, sure, but also identity, corporate control.
The nature of self, really. It gets pretty deep.
It does. And just for context, Severance first hit Apple TV Plus back on February 18th, 2022.
And it made a huge splash almost immediately. People were talking about it everywhere.
Totally. Massive critical acclaim, 14 Emmy nominations, which is just incredible.
Wow, 14.
Yep. And it won for main title design, which is fantastic, by the way, and for its musical score. Very moody, very fitting.
Oh, yeah. The music is definitely part of the whole atmosphere. And it got nominated for Outstanding Drama, acting nods for Adam Scott, John Turturro, Christopher Walken, Patricia Arquette. A stacked list.
Seriously. And good news for fans, Season 2 dropped January 17th, 2025.
Right. Relatively recently.
And they've already announced a third season is coming too, back on March 21st, 2025. So plenty more to look forward to.
That's great news. It really shows how much it resonated, doesn't it? The awards, the quick renewals. It clearly tapped into something.
I think so. Maybe something about how we all feel about work these days, that need for separation.
Could be. It takes that feeling to such an extreme. So the central idea, the procedure itself, it's done by this company, Lumen Industries.
Right, this big, mysterious corporation.
Yeah.
And they call the procedure severance.
And it literally splits an employee's consciousness. So when you're at work, you're the innie.
Your innie persona. And that innie has zero memories of life outside Lumen. None at all.
And then, boom, you leave work and your outie takes over.
And the outie remembers nothing about what happened at the office all day. It's like two different people in one body.
It's this complete, almost surgical separation of self, which, I mean, the philosophical questions that raises are just huge.
Oh, totally. Two sets of memories, two sets of experiences happening to the same person, but they're walled off from each other.
The innie's whole world is just Lumon, the office, the weird corridors, the tasks.
While the outie's out there, living a life, maybe relationships, hobbies, family.
Completely oblivious to the fact that for 8 hours a day, another version of them is essentially trapped at work.
Yeah, trapped feels like the right word sometimes. We see this through some really great characters. Adam Scott plays Mark Scout.
Or Mark S., his innie name.
Right. He's the main guy we follow, mostly. Former history professor, and he took the severance deal after his wife died.
So for his outie, it's clearly an escape from grief.
Seems like it. Then you've got Zach Cherry as Dylan G.
Dylan G., yeah. Mark's coworker in the macrodata refinement department, MDR.
And Dylan seems mostly focused on the company perks, like the little finger traps and melon bars.
Which kind of highlights how limited their world is, right? Those little things become disproportionately important.
Good point. Then there's Helly R., played by Britt Lower. She's the new hire, the rebellious one.
Oh, yeah. Helly pushes back hard against the whole system from day one.
Her reactions feel very real, like how you or I might react if we woke up in that situation.
Yeah.
She asks all the questions.
Absolutely. Her struggle really drives home the ethical nightmare of it all. Is this even okay? Can you do this to someone?
And overseeing them, you have Tremel Tillman as Seth Milchick.
Milchick. He's the supervisor on the severed floor. Always smiling, but kind of creepy.
Definitely unsettling. And then Patricia Arquette as Harmony Cobell.
The boss. But she's also
Mark's outie's neighbor, Mrs. Selvig. Which is just, wow, talk about blurring lines.
That twist is brilliant. It shows Lumen isn't just controlling the innies, they're infiltrating the outies' lives too. That separation isn't as clean as they pretend.
Not at all. It completely undermines the whole premise in a way. And then there's John Turturro as Irving B.
Irving, yeah. He's an MDR with Mark and Dylan. Very by the book, loves the rules, loves the company history or what they're told of it.
But he forms this connection with Bert G., played by Christopher Walken.
Bert from Optics and Design, O&D. Their relationship is, well, it's really touching, actually.
It really is. It shows that like human connection can find a way even in this sterile, controlled place.
Yeah, that need for connection seems to persist even when memories and identities are supposedly split. It challenges the whole idea that they're totally separate.
We also meet Petey, briefly, Mark's former colleague, who managed to get reintegrated.
Right, which hints that maybe the severance isn't totally irreversible or perfect.
And we see Mark's sister, Devon, and her kind of new agey husband, Rickon, out in the real world.
They give us that contrast, that perspective on the Audi life and the world Lumen employees are cut off from.
All these characters really help explore the show's big themes.
And there are layers. Obviously, the first one is work-life balance, just taken to this absolute extreme.
Yeah, it literalizes the idea of leaving work at work.
Yeah.
But it forces you to ask, is this humane? Is this ethical?
Exactly. You've got the innie, whose entire existence is work. No past beyond Lumon, no future beyond Lumon, just the task at hand.
And the Audi, who gets the benefit of not remembering work stress, but is also kind of complicit because they chose this for their innie.
That's the unsettling part. The Audi agrees to subject another part of themselves to this confinement, often for their own comfort or convenience. Is that freedom? What's the cost?
Which leads right into the identity question. If your memories make you who you are, what happens when they're split like this?
Are the innie and Audi the same person? Or two different people sharing a body? It really messes with your concept of self.
Yeah, like where does the person actually reside? Is it just the sum of memories? Is there a core self underneath?
The show plays with that constantly. Free will versus control. How much choice do the innies really have?
It's a fantastic thought experiment, playing out philosophical debates about consciousness right there on screen. What makes you you?
And Lumen itself, it's this perfect symbol of, like, oppressive corporate power.
Oh, absolutely. It's almost Kafkaesque. The bureaucracy, the weird rules, the sense that the individual means nothing compared to the company's goals.
Total dehumanization.
Yeah.
Employees are just cogs, monitored, constantly manipulated. It's chilling because elements of it feel vaguely familiar, even if exaggerated.
Yeah, that pursuit of productivity over everything else.
Yeah.
And for some, like Mark, severance is clearly a way out, an escape.
Right, he uses it to avoid the pain of his wife's death for 8 hours a day, compartmentalization taken to a surgical level.
But the show makes you wonder if you can really just cut off pain like that. Does it actually work?
Yeah.
Or does it just fester somewhere?
That's a really good point. Avoidance is a key theme. Can you truly sever yourself from difficult emotions or experiences without consequence? Probably not.
Feels like those things have a way of bleeding through somehow, even if the memories aren't there.
But it's not all bleak. There's also this strong theme of rebellion, of awakening.
Yeah, the innies start to question things. They get curious. They start pushing back against the system.
Helly is the obvious catalyst, but you see it in Mark and the others too. They start to realize something isn't right.
It feels like an allegory, maybe,
Yeah.
for waking up to any kind of oppressive system, whether it's corporate, political, whatever.
Exactly. That fight to reclaim your sense of self, your autonomy, it's a powerful narrative thread.
And the show layers in all these fascinating details, like the contrast between the innies' lives, which seem so bland sometimes, and the hints of their Audi lives.
Yeah, you wonder what kind of people they really are outside those walls. What choices did their Audis make?
And the work itself, macro data refinement and optics and design, what are they actually doing? Sorting scary numbers, making watering cans.
It's deliberately vague and unsettling, isn't it? It adds to that sense of meaningless labor, of being disconnected from any real purpose, which again feeds the dehumanization theme.
Totally. And the corporate culture is just bizarre.
Yeah.
The weird incentives, the waffle parties, the reverence for the founder, Kiri.
Oh, the cult of Kier. It's like this whole weird religion built around the company. Very creepy.
And there are always these little hints, these breadcrumbs, suggesting there's something much bigger and maybe darker going on at Lumon.
Yeah, you constantly feel like there's a hidden agenda, some grand, possibly sinister purpose behind the whole Severance project. It keeps you guessing.
Keeps you hooked.
Yeah.
And seeing those relationships form, like Irving and Bert, that adds such an important human element.
It really does. It shows that even in that artificial environment, that need for connection, for something genuine, persists. It finds a way.
Yeah, it's like proof that you can't completely suppress the human spirit, maybe.
I think that's a big part of it, that resilience.
Okay, so just to kind of wrap up the main threads here, Severance gives us this extreme version of separating work and life.
And forces us to think about what that does to our sense of identity, how it fragments us.
Right. And it's a really potent critique of corporate control, how institutions can dehumanize people.
It also explores why someone might choose that kind of escape, the appeal of avoidance, but also its limits.
And, importantly, it shows the potential for rebellion, for waking up and fighting back.
So it leaves you thinking, doesn't it? Like, could you ever imagine a situation where doing something like Severance, splitting off some part of your life, would actually seem tempting?
It's a provocative question.
Yeah.
What parts of you do you think would stay the same across that kind of divide, if any?
Yeah, and maybe more practically, does watching this make you look differently at your own relationship with work? That line between your job and your life.
Definitely gives you food for thought. If you haven't seen Severance, seriously, check it out on Apple TV Plus Ranch.
Yeah, highly recommended. It's smart, it looks amazing, and it's just incredibly gripping.
And even if you have seen it, maybe thinking about these themes we talked about gives you a new lens for a rewatch.
For sure. It's one of those shows that definitely rewards a closer look.